Blair Snelgar was a happy little 3-year-old with an infectious laugh.
You're happy when you're around them because they bring so much joy.
Mum Emma Snelgar says that was despite her little girl's many challenges, which she started to notice when Blair was just a baby.
In the way that she wasn't reaching her milestones, she had a lot of feeding issues. We also had our older daughter, Sage, who was 20 months older than Blair, so it was still quite fresh in our minds, what Sage was doing and what Blair was not doing that Sage was doing at that time.
Blair was admitted to the Queensland Children's Hospital in late 2020, but after many days of tests and specialist visits, the Snelgars were no closer to answers.
On the second last day, one of the senior neurologists who we hadn't seen before came down and had a look at Blair and started asking a number of questions about, what's her sleep like, what's, her colouring. She's very fair. Is that, running in the family? And he said that he was going to order another genetic test. We'd already had a range of genetic tests, but he was going to order another one. And so I asked, what are you looking for this time? And he said, I think she might have Angelman Syndrome. I had never heard of Angelman Syndrome, so of course I was like, what is that? As soon as he left, I Googled it. I was just reading through the characteristics of it online and just in my brain going tick, tick, tick.
Angelman syndrome is a rare genetic disorder that affects approximately 1 in 15,000 live births. Blair's was caused by a deletion of her 15th chromosome. Symptoms include global developmental delay, impaired movement and balance, lack of speech, seizures, and feeding and sleep difficulties. Emma says medical literature about the condition suggests it is not life-limiting. But tragically, that was not the case for Blair, who died on April 29 last year.
It was a huge shock. There were no warning signs. It just happened in her sleep. We still don't actually have a formal cause of death at the moment, but we suspect that she had a seizure. It just wasn't even on our radar that she would be, passing before us. And it's really only now that I can reflect more on just how vulnerable and high risk, their existence is.
In the wake of her death, the Snelgars made a big decision to donate their daughter's brain to research.
It was no easy feat doing that because currently in Australia there's no ethics protocols in place to allow that for a minor. There's biobanks in Australia, but none had the ethics approval to accept, donations from, minors. So FAST and the association in Australia worked really hard on our behalf to create a pathway for this to happen by sending it to America. So Blair's brain is off at UC Davis in America in a top research facility there, and we can't wait to find out what her beautiful brain can tell us about Angelman syndrome and not just Angelman syndrome. Like, this could potentially open doorways for other rare diseases.
February is an important month for the Snelgars, not only because it's Blair's birthday, but also because today marks International Angelman Day.
It's celebrated on that date because it's the 15th chromosome affected, and February is Rare Disease Month. We are lighting up a number of landmarks on the Sunshine Coast and globally in blue. Blue's the Angelman colour. Yeah, so it's really a day to bring Angelman communities together, to raise awareness, recognise people with Angelman syndrome who have passed, and it also ties in with Blair's birthday. So Blair's birthday is on the 17th of February, which is 2 days later, and I've always thought it's a bit, a bit uncanny that her birthday was so closely related to Angelman syndrome. I feel like she was always, in a way, wanting us to promote this on her behalf.
Emma is now channeling her pain into purpose. She's joined the board for the Foundation of Angelman Syndrome Therapeutics. Founder Megan Cross, whose daughter Molly also has the condition, says Emma is an inspiration.
She's also, I suppose, able to look retrospectively. She was saying something on the weekend that I'd never really thought about. We talk about Angelman syndrome having a normal lifespan, and she pointed out that, there's statistics on the lifespan of individuals with an intellectual disability being at least 15 years less. And our kids have lots of risk factors. Why are we saying this? Are we underplaying the risks of having a syndrome like this? Which is something I hadn't been able to see, and maybe Emma wouldn't have without the lens she has now.
The Australian-based foundation has raised more than $1.5 million in the past decade for research and support. Some of that money has gone towards the establishment of a global Angelman registry, a database of people diagnosed with the condition around the world, which will help gain a clearer picture of its prevalence.
That's probably one of our main priorities, is growing that across the world. We're in about 96 different countries and probably one of the largest patient registries in rare disease around, and the largest of its type, really.
People with Angelman syndrome are often referred to as angels. Emma says her angel Blair is a little pioneer for others.
I feel like I have had to become a very spiritual person since Blair passed away. Yeah, I'm always finding little, signs and things from Blair, from the universe, reaffirming that I'm on the right path and aligned with what I should be doing. Yeah, I feel like it is almost like my life's purpose now to continue talking about Blair, raising awareness for Angelman syndrome, finding treatments and a cure so that no other family has to go through what we went through, because Angelman syndrome isn't a syndrome that kids should be dying from.